Everybody, my name is Josh Decker, and I'm glad that you joined me tonight just for just a couple of minutes. I've been thinking a lot about a training that I went through a couple days ago, and I just wanted to get on here and share some thoughts with you about some of the things I think actually holding us back in life. And those are the words that we have in our heads. And those words can be very, very powerful even when we don't necessarily recognize them, or when we think, gosh, this is the same kind of words that everybody else uses. Two words I want to hone in specifically on tonight are really keen on my mind lately, and that is the word frustrated and the word disappointed. I'm sure none of you have ever experienced frustration or disappointment, and everything's going perfect in your life. For me, I get frustrated from time to time. I get frustrated with my kids. I get frustrated sometimes in my marriage. I get frustrated in my job and in my business. There are times where I get frustrated. And most certainly there are times where I get disappointed, where I expected something to happen and it didn't. But what I've learned is that, these two things really are internal processes that we can change, that we have control over if we choose to exercise that control. And so I just wanted to share with you really quickly what I learned about these two couple of things that might help change a little bit of what it is that you think of when you hear or when you start experiencing frustration or disappointment. So the first thing is this, frustration. Frustration is simply this. It is the difference between where you think you are and where you ought to be. And this is something I learned from a guy named Ray Higdon. Great guy. But it's the difference between where you think you are and where you think you ought to be. And so the important thing to know about both of those is that both of those are your opinions. Okay, so where you think you are, that's your opinion of where you are right now, or your opinion of what is going on right now, and your opinion of what ought to be going on right now, either where you are in your business, in your life, or in whatever situation you're in. And the frustration is the difference between those two. Listen, if we can change our opinions of those kinds of things, then we'll change our perspective and we'll get past, this idea of frustration, which oftentimes is going to hold us back as opposed to help propel us forward. And so one of the things that we can do really greatly is to change our expectations for gratitude, right? So instead of going into something and expecting and then, being frustrated when it didn't happen, just be grateful for the things that you have, for the people involved in your life, for where you are right now in this very moment. And that helps to change everything. The same thing with disappointment. Now, disappointment, I've heard this definition a while ago, and I think it's still very true. Disappointment is the difference between your expectations and reality. Okay, so when your expectations are here and reality is here, your level of disappointment is the distance between those two. And so both frustration and disappointment really are a matter of our opinions and our expectations. And so if we can trade, if we can trade our expectations and just become grateful, to live in an attitude of gratitude, if you will, which is really kind of it's a platitude that I really don't really care for because it's overused. But if we can really own that, right? And if we can really live a life where we are grateful all of the time, it changes us, and it starts changing the interactions we have with others. It starts changing every aspect of our life, and all of a sudden you start noticing you're not as frustrated, you're not as disappointed at times. So I just wanted to get on here and share that with you. Listen, I'm challenging myself. I'm going to be on doing a video just about every day over the course of the next month. I'd encourage you, come and join me. I'm learning lots right now. I want to share that with you. So a couple of favors I'm going to ask from you. If you found that this was at all encouraging or helpful, do me a favor, drop the word "yep" right down here in the comments. Also give me a thumbs up or a heart, would really appreciate it. And if you know somebody who might benefit from this, who either needs a little bit of encouragement, maybe needs that little bit of a challenge because they're just in that spot where they're really frustrated, really disappointed right now, share this video with them and encourage them to to change the way that they think a little bit. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.